WWE's Bash in Berlin is behind us, and it was everything that we really thought it was gonna be, aside from a few things that kind of came out of left field a little bit, or maybe in the back of our mind we thought this might happen, but we were just going to wait and see. But for the most part, WWE once again on their PLEs delivered in a satisfying fashion everything that we wanted to see. And there is this little bit of an in-between space going on right now where it seems to be that a lot of the build is behind this wall of SmackDown being on a new network, WWE Raw being on a new network. So a lot of things are being moved around and shuffled around, but for the most part, we're seemingly waiting for that big reveal of the new premiere episodes of SmackDown and Raw. And it's in those moments where I think a lot of the things where we're kind of sitting around waiting for what's going to happen next or when this specific thing is going to happen, I think you'll get your answer once we see SmackDown and Raw. In my opinion, on Raw, you're more than likely going to see something involving, Seth Rollins' return, something with Uncle Howdy colliding with someone, like a confrontation or something of that regard. You're going to see Gunther and maybe like somebody like a Brock Lesnar or a John Cena show up and actually challenge him, because Gunther's going to go through a list of legends. He is going to be, at the end of this, solidified as a future Hall of Fame. His legacy will be stamped with this championship reign, no doubt about it. And they are firmly behind him after tonight's Bash in Berlin. And even before that, you could tell they were putting all they had behind him with a 666-day Intercontinental title run and some of the legends he's already battled. I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that by the end of this title run, Gunther will be in rarefied air. And then on the SmackDown side, I mean, obviously Paul Heyman is going to come back. He's going to bring Roman Reigns out. Roman Reigns is probably going to speak for the first time. You might even see the Rock return and him show up. You might start seeing the betrayal from Randy Orton on Cody Rhodes, which I'll get into later. But I mean, I think those are the things that you're going to be looking forward to. So in between that time, they're kind of in neutral. They're kind of in cruise control. This is kind of in the build up to SummerSlam, but about till it was about 2 weeks away from SummerSlam, and you saw the same things. You saw this kind of stagnant, kind of like in between space of WWE, and then it revved back up for SummerSlam, dropped back down in the build up to the premiere episodes of SmackDown and Raw. It's going to kick back up into high gear as we approach Survivor Series and into the next year. So that's just my guess on that. Obviously I wasn't 100% accurate on what I thought was going to happen at Bash in Berlin, and I'm here to speak about that too. I'm also here to kind of tease a little bit of a new rating system that I think I'm going to start implementing. Nothing got like a pass or anything like that, and I mean not a pass like I'm gonna push it through but I really didn't like it, or a pass like it was a dud or 1 star or anything like that. I think everything at tonight's show was, at least to quote a legendary former wrestling journalist, I think he still does stuff, Scott Keith, everything was pretty much perfectly acceptable wrestling, aside from a few things. And so let's get into it without further ado. Kevin Owens not turning was absolutely the right decision. Cody Rhodes beats Kevin Owens, retains his undisputed championship. We all understood that Cody Rhodes is hurting for an opponent. We also, I think, understand that if anybody is going to turn on Cody Rhodes, it's going to be Randy Orton. After the frustration of losing this championship match against Gunther, It forces Orton to look at Rhodes in the Undisputed Championship as something he must have by any means necessary. I think the right one went over in this match. I think Cody retaining not only his championship but his friendship with Kevin Owens was the right thing to do going into potentially yet another match with Solo Sikoa. Kevin Owens resisting cheating when someone such as Orton doesn't. It also plays into Michael Cole's closing line that Cody is still facing the bloodline and he could use friends like Kevin Owens backing him. That's when Randy Orton comes in. That's when Randy Orton starts looking at the Undisputed Championship. That's when Randy Orton strikes and attacks Cody Rhodes.
That's what you slipped in. That's what was on your shoe. And that explains the abrasion on your palm. Damn, I'm good.
Because Cody, the way that the story is being set up, it's brilliant because Cody is looking over his shoulder at Kevin Owens, wondering if he can trust him. All of that went away except for that look that Kevin Owens kind of gave him with the hug. It kind of left it open, but I think Kevin Owens' story is eventually to give in to that urge to do the things that he's been holding back. But that's going to take a while. I think that arc is probably going to go into 2025, and then we'll see something along those lines. But for now, there's a really interesting story there of Kevin Owens like resisting the urge to give in to that form, that version of Kevin Owens, that version of KO. I'm really intrigued by that. Like, it's very similar to Will Ospreay resisting to do the Tiger Driver, but there's more meat on the bone there, you know? Like, there's way more meat because he's not resisting a move. He's resisting who he is in a sense, right? Like, that's who Kevin Owens is, and he's like resisting doing that. He's like, I want to be good for a change, you know? I want to do the right thing for a change. And eventually he's gonna crack under the weight of that trying to be this thing, you know, this holding up this tail feather, and then eventually he's gonna turn. But right now I like the idea of him holding back and resisting, and then Randy Orton sneaks by, slithers by, and bites. I love that idea because Cody Rhodes would not see that coming, right? He would assume he's got his friends, and then he finds an enemy. Best friends, bitter enemies. I mean, just like Shawn Michaels and Diesel. So I like that, and I think that's going to be good. Also, though, can Solo get at least a couple of wins on SmackDown to reestablish dominance if and when he gets this rematch with Cody Rhodes? For the love of God, can he at least get a little bit of win? Like just a few wins, a few momentum. I mean, I understand like the tags, powerbombing somebody through a table and everything like that. And WWE's never really been good at like establishing a super. Look at Chad Gable over at Raw, you know, like he's dropping L after L after L, and people are like going like, this is what WWE does, you know, like don't look at him like a jobber. He's helping establish another superstar, and that is true. It is what the WWE does. I mean, it's what a lot of the heels over in WWF in the 90s and in the late 80s did for Hulk Hogan. There were some great heels there that, you know, looked up at the lights for the 1, 2, 3 to help establish Hulk Hogan as this monster. So I get it. I understand that that's kind of the playbook there, but I mean, Solo, if we're really, and I get it. Look, I'm the one that has been vouching for this bloodline story and who this character Solo is. But Solo would also start asking for these matches against these job dudes too. Like, let's focus a little bit on that. Like, it doesn't have to be, he doesn't have to be in the ring with like, you know, LA Knight or Jey Uso, or I mean, who else is on SmackDown? That Jey Uso's not even on SmackDown, but you know, he doesn't have to just be going after those mid-card to upper mid-card guys or upper card guys. Give him some jabronis. You know what I'm saying? Give him some local talent, some enhancement talent. Let him go over there and give him a couple Samoan spikes and call it a day. You know what I mean? Handicap matches and stuff, you know, like help him, you know, like have him go out and say like, I want talent, but I want local talent in the ring or something. I don't know. I think it would be a good idea. It would do good to kind of like, you know, give him some empty wins. I don't know. That's just my opinion, because he's definitely going to lose again to Cody Rhodes. With a women's tag team championship, I thought it was great, in my opinion. I thought that this was done well. I thought there was very little to complain about in this match, except for maybe the crowd's interest. It seemed like the vacuum was sucking the air out of the room during the entrance of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, which shocked me because I thought that there would be more heat directed at Kaylee Ray for her continued work. I think she even worked in Westside Extreme Wrestling for a while as well. So I was very shocked by the fact that the crowd didn't give her at least a little bit of heat going into it. The crowd did get into it midway through the match. I thought all women involved did their thing. They paced themselves really well. The chemistry, the energy, it was all there. I also love that Jade was holding on to the tag rope when Bianca Belair was playing Face in Peril. I thought that was a nice touch. It's just a little thing, but it's such a nice homage to like my era of wrestling. And maybe it's been happening a lot in tag team wrestling in WWE because it's kind of a WWE thing, but it was the first time I noticed it during this match or any other tag match recently, and I thought it was a great callback. I love that stuff. Jade Cargill and Bianca show great fire. There is just not another tag team in the women's division that is currently assembled that is on their level, and they're going to have to do something about that. I don't know if they're going to call up some teams from NXT or if they're going to call up, I don't know what Raquel Rodriguez is doing and who they would stick her with. But something's got to give because they are legitimately towering over the NXT or over the women's tag division, and there is no tag team within a mile of ever coming close to legitimately beating Jade and Bianca, other than Jade and Bianca splitting and relinquishing the titles, or because of their beef with one another causing the rift and one of them losing. That's the only way that I can see them relinquishing the titles going forward, because they've already used their cheap tactic card on the three-way tag match. So something's got to give, though, because nobody's beating them. CM Punk against Drew McIntyre in a strap match. Very interesting idea. Very WWE, like cinematic world, cinematic era of using the lights on the turnbuckle. Has that ever been done? Because I was thinking in my head, like, oh, maybe it was in an era where I wasn't paying attention. But first of all, they've reintroduced the idea of the strap match being where you touch all four corners. So I know they haven't done that recently. Usually their strap matches were pinfall, submission, or whatever. So I wonder, it was very like Price is Right. It was very game show-esque of them to do it. And there were some flaws in the way that the light was going off and going on at times or whatever. But it was intriguing because it did get the crowd to go to really get into it. And I think it was the lights, ooh, shiny, or, like it was just this idea of like, ooh, red, ooh, green, it was cool. I thought they utilized that really well. But the crowd helped this match mean more than just your run-of-the-mill strap match, in my opinion. They were into it, and Punk and McIntyre milked the dramatic moments very well. They let this match breathe and had exciting spots to thread the match together overall. I wonder why McIntyre didn't tie the strap to the bracelet somehow. But then I looked at the strap and I looked at how thick and long it was.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That was crazy.
That
was crazy.
And I was like, oh, that's probably why. Because if it would have broke, your MacGuffin's out the window and all of the drama is just gone from the end of this match. So I did think it was interesting that Punk, there wasn't a scene where like Drew ripped the bracelet for that dramatic moment of Punk going like, no, like, no. Like, no, like something from like a Van Damme movie or something, like, you ripped my bracelet. I don't know why he sounds like that, but in my head he sounds like that. But like, yeah, I was wondering why they didn't do that, and I'm wondering if maybe they're saving that for the cage. if they're saving that for something like that. But I thought this would have been good because then, he would have been picking up the pieces of the broken bracelet, and then McIntyre hits the fourth turnbuckle, boom, bam, he wins, right? But Punk technically gets his bracelet back in a million pieces, right? I mean, that's like drama that I thought we would have seen. I think Punk was the right one to go over in this because you've got the feud tied now 1-1 going into Bad Blood or whenever else they're going to have their next match. And I assume it's going to be Bad Blood, and I assume it's going to be Hell in a Cell. So I think that was very appropriate to have that. This also sets up for the crowd to get more sympathetic on CM Punk when Drew does snap and beat the ever-living shit out of CM Punk again, and then maybe break that bracelet. I think that's when you really get the crowd behind CM Punk and you really get some heel heat on Drew McIntyre. Because for a while there, and maybe it was just the arenas, but for a while there, man, I'm telling you, I did a whole video about it. I thought Drew McIntyre was getting some cheers because he was coming off so badass on the mic, and I thought that CM Punk was... the crowd was starting to turn on him a little bit. They were getting sick of the, I'm happy to be here shtick. So, very, very good match, in my opinion. CM Punk looked like a rock star. He gets it, man. He gets it. And he was in great shape. And they've got great chemistry, and I'm sure they love working with each other. Feud of the year continues with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. The mixed tag team match, it had a ton of heat. The crowd was super, super into this match, okay? They were so into it that they brought in that crowd meter, and it was hitting the red at some points. I spoke in my predictions that Dom and Liv sort of needed the win here to establish them as being a big deal without Priest and Ripley in the stable anymore, and going 2 PLEs with back-to-back losses for Rhea and Damian, I felt would have been worse than the Judgment Day losing here. So even though in my predictions that was kind of like my underdog pick of the night, I really felt that that Rhea and Damian, they really needed the win here though, because they are trying to be badass Terror Twin team, and Liv still has the championship, and Finn Balor is still laying in wait. So giving Damian and Rhea that momentum going into Bad Blood, it's going to be awesome now, because Liv is going to be looking for revenge. Dom's going to be looking for revenge. Finn Balor is going to be looking for revenge. I think the way that they have this set up is Damian Priest and Finn Balor in a match, and then you have Rhea Ripley challenge Liv Morgan for the championship in a Hell in a Cell, and then that way Liv can't run away and Dom can't get involved, but Dom's gonna get involved, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Oh yeah, you in the back, you know what's going on. Gunther retains his championship against Randy Orton. Now this one, I get this match. Because I grew up watching matches like this. This was a callback to before the work rate era was even a twinkle in New Japan's eye or All Japan's eye. This was an 80s, like early 90s, mid 90s style match. The slow plotting, pacing, but the emotion, every move meant something. Every move was going to take you out a little bit. This was refreshing to me, because you don't see a match like this that often. So I appreciated this match. To me, the 36 minutes flew by. I know a lot of people are going to say stuff about Randy Orton. He did look blown up a little bit. Even Gunther was sweating buckets, okay? Because of the way this match was. It's kind of weird to say, but even in the slow pacing, everything was methodical. Everything meant something. So they're not going at a full clip, okay? But everything was stiff. Everything was snug. Everything meant something. And it was probably really hot in that arena. Those big dudes, and I consider them big dudes. Randy Orton's huge. Gunther is huge. No Mo or whatever that is. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying. Those guys are big dudes, man. And they really put on a clinic. They did a good job, in my opinion. And this is going to really set up. For me, it was interesting they did the handshake. But I really think that this is to set up the frustration at Randy Orton not getting that championship win that he so wanted, that he was out there cutting promos saying that it was a foregone conclusion that he was going to win that championship. So he's going to be frustrated. He's going to go now help Cody Rhodes, who has the undisputed championship. Cody Rhodes was maybe 2 at best, but 3 on the Legacy stable. Randy Orton was the leader. That's going to be in the back of his mind. He basically taught Cody Rhodes everything he knew, right? And he could at least lay claim to that in some regard. He's going to want the undisputed championship because he knows he doesn't have a shot at Gunther's WWE Raw championship anymore, right? The excuse there was like, I had my shoulder up. So now the shoulder, that excuse is no longer there. He is not going back to Raw to get a rematch. He can't go back and get that shot again. He lost that opportunity. The only other opportunity that he has is within his friend and the undisputed championship on SmackDown. He is not going to let that opportunity slip by, and he's going to do whatever it takes to break Cody Rhodes psychologically so that he can get that championship. And I so can't wait. I so can't wait for when they do this. This is going to be huge. And I think if done right, it can be very compelling, very dramatic, very suspenseful, and very captivating. And if anybody can do that, if any company can do that, Triple H and the WWE, they do it really well. They're very, very good at getting you into a storyline. And a storyline like that, no exceptions. No exceptions whatsoever. I cannot wait to see when that happens, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing it as early as the premiere of SmackDown, maybe the episode that follows, because I think they're going to really load up that first SmackDown. They're going to load it up, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, maybe Jimmy Uso, maybe a Bloodline versus Bloodline standoff, The Rock showing up. Maybe Cody Rhodes defends his undisputed championship. I mean, they're going to load it up. Cody Rhodes against Solo. Look for that. I don't think it's going to happen to Bad Blood. It might even happen on a SmackDown. They're going to load it up. They're going to load that show up. They're going to do that for a reason, because they want most eyes on the product. That's why. So, guys, that's what I thought. Oh, for my ranking system, like I would give CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, it's fuckable. It's fuckable. I would give the mixed tag team match, I'd give that just a little bit above fuckable. I'd give that like almost out of your league. Almost an out of your league. I would give Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens first date. First date. You know what I mean? No, I don't know, man. I don't know. I really do want to try to do a ranking system that's a little unique and different. So I was kind of going to something like that, like fuckable, smash, pass, friend zone or something like that. You know what I mean? Something unique. I'm working on it. You guys let me know in the comments where you think the ranking system should go. Because 5 stars and all that stuff, that's been done before. And it's really not intriguing to me anymore. They're going with infinity stars. They're taking the luster out of that. So I want to do something different. So you guys let me know in the comments what kind of ranking system you want me to go with. If you guys are listening this far into the video, y'all some real ones. And I gotta thank y'all so much for watching this video all the way through. Thank you again for whatever reason listening to my voice babble on about professional wrestling as long as I have been doing it. I couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. Thumbs up on the way out, you guys. Let's keep this thing going in the portal of pro wrestling. I got a lot more coming to you soon with videos from the past, present, and the future. And as I always say, stay tuned for more.